Guess where I am? You wouldn't. I'll forgive you for that, but this is a very famous place. This is actually, or it was, the BBC Club in Evesham. I've got to take you back. Actually, I'm going back to 1973. This is the old Evesham house. It's Wood Norton, and it's up on the hill. And this was the BBC College. Well, Radio 1 started in 1967. They realised all their equipment, engineers, assistants, studio assistants, were all Radio 4-ish. They weren't Radio 1-ish. So they actually took on a whole course at intake in 1973 of DJs. Back then, Radio 1 did not have mobile disco equipment. So this was one of the very first Radio 1 days. It was a cricket day in Guildford. And can you guess who's on stage with me? Radio 1 are using my equipment, my mobile gear, and that's Brian Connolly, lead singer of The Sweet. Amazing. Now, you might be wondering why I'm showing you these sort of concentration camp-like wooden huts. That is where we were dormed, our dormitories, when we were at the Evesham College, learning how to make programs. This is where I started in 1973, when myself and a few others came in as an intake to learn how to make programs for Radio 1 and 2. Phil Hughes was also on my intake, the intake that year. He went on to become Radio 2's exec producer. I stayed as a performer and went to do the breakfast show on Metro Radio, where I met Jean, and then on to Radio Orwell. And then became a DJ on TV. This was a soap about a radio station. I'm standing just behind Sherry Hooson. And down in front of me, you see Simon Rouse, who was in the bill. Long time ago.
It's called the Sea Wolves. So if you're like me and you listen to the shipping forecast under the bedclothes, then don't miss the next half an hour of the Dave Farrell Show. In fact, as I speak, I see that Doug has in fact appeared, or as we say in Brighton, hoved into view. News next with Steve White on Radio 3.
So let's go back to Evesham, because so many people started there. So many great programme makers came from that hill in Evesham. This is where I joined the BBC and the start of an amazing journey through radio, onto television, and then I became a stuntman, which was a bit of a diversion, and a film director. But I've always been a storyteller, which is why I'm here at the Evesham Festival of Words this very week to announce the release of my new book, The Unexpected. In a world where peace comes at a price, a covert team must sail deep into hostile waters, disguised as cruise entertainers, to stop a retaliation that could ignite global war. This is not just a mission, it's survival. This is the unexpected. So a big cheers from Evesham. My career was unexpected. This is the unexpected. And that is a pint of cloudy cider, just like I remember from 1973. If I get to see you later on this year on the Queen Victoria or the Aurora, which I'm doing in between the festivals, do come up and say hello. And if you read The Unexpected, please review the book. Please, please, please review it. Thank you. Enjoy the book. After foiling a Russian-backed cruise ship terror plot on Christmas Day, investigator Kieran Phillips is marked for death by the Kremlin. To survive and stop global escalation, he must eliminate the one man who knows his identity before he is revealed to the Kremlin.